All right, so I've got this equation 3 times 1/2. What does that mean? Well, I do know that the multiplication symbol means groups. So if I have 3 times 1/2, another way of saying that would be 3 groups of 1/2. So I'm going to think of this as 3 groups of 1/2. Let's see what that would look like in pictures. So 3 1/2s, I'm going to look at orange slices. So I've got 1, 2, 3 orange slices, and they're all half. So here's half an orange. We've got 1/2 orange here, another half of an orange here, and another half of an orange here. My equation says that I should have 3 groups of 1/2, which is what I have. What happens when I put these 2 halves of an orange together? What happens is I get a whole orange. So now I have 1.5 orange. I have 1 whole orange here and 1/2 of an orange here. So 3 groups of 1/2 equals 1 and 1/2. Okay, let's get rid of the oranges and see if we could prove that strictly using numbers. 3 groups of 1/2 would be 1/2, 1/2, and 1/2. So these 3 groups, if I add them together, I will get 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2 halves plus 1/2. I know when the numerator and the denominator are the same, that equals 1 whole. So now I have 1 plus 1/2 equals 1 and 1/2. I got the same answer that I got by using the pictures of the oranges. Another way I can look at it is my 3 groups of 1/2 again. So 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. I can just add 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3 for the numerator. My denominator stays the same. It's still halves. So now I have 3 halves. I know in my head that 3 halves is the same as 2 halves plus 1/2. And again, when the numerator and the denominator are the same, that equals 1 whole. So I've got 1 plus 1/2, which is 1 and 1/2. So that is 3 different ways to look at this problem. Let's look at another problem together. Go ahead and pause the video and get your supplies together so that you can work this problem out with me. 5 times 1/4. Go ahead and write down, what does that actually mean? I hope you wrote down that 5 times 1/4 is really 5 groups of 1/4. So 5 groups of 1/4. What does that look like? That would be 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. This is what 5 groups of 1/4 looks like. Let's look at that as a picture. Here's a pizza that has been cut into fourths. I have 1/4 of a pizza, 1/4 of a pizza, 1/4 of a pizza, and 1/4 of a pizza. This is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. I know that my problem said I needed 5 groups of 1/4, so I still need another fourth of a pizza. Here I have another fourth of a pizza. So now I have 5 groups of 1/4. What happens when you put these fourths together? You get 1 whole pizza. So I know 5 groups of 1/4 is going to give me 1 whole and 1/4. Let's go back to just the numbers. 5 times 1/4, or 5 groups of 1/4. We have 1/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 4 groups of 1/4, and 5 groups of 1/4. Go ahead and solve this problem on your piece of paper. Let's see what you came up with. A couple different ways you could have done this. You could have been counting and thought 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and stopped to think, oh, well, I know 4/4 is the same as 1 whole. Bring over the plus 1/4, and you've got 1 and 1/4. Another way you could have thought about it was when you had your 5 groups of 1/4, was just to add them all straight across for 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. Notice that the numerator is larger than the denominator, which means it's going to be more than 1. So look for your whole, and in fourths, 1 whole would be 4/4, which means you have 1/4 left over. 5 times 1/4 is 1 and 1/4. Out using pictures, try it here.